It is estimated that the number of people who suffer from dementia will triple between 2016 and 2030. As of the year 2015, there were approximately 65 million persons suffering from dementia globally. In 2030, we will have over 100 million. Why is there such a large number? Why is dementia largely ignored and more so overlooked in the country? Today on She Power, we meet a woman who has taken on the indelible task of raising awareness on dementia and taking care of people who suffer from it. Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of She Power right here on WTV Kenya. I'm your host Linda Kroeger. Now today I have with me on set a wonderful guest, Salome Chira, and she is a clinician and also runs a home care facility or initiative if you'd like. Now today we're going to be looking at mental health and specifically dementia and Alzheimer's. Welcome to the show, Salome.
Thank you.
I think first and foremost, maybe you can tell our viewers, what is dementia? I mean, it sounds like a whole complicated disease and discussion.
Dementia, we term it as a condition. It's a set of symptoms of condition that will affect your memory until you're not able to perform your everyday tasks. So any condition that affects your memory and your everyday activities that you're not able to accomplish, we term it as dementia. And among the causes of dementia, we have different, like Alzheimer's disease is one of the causes of dementia. This is where people bring in confusion because they're not able to differentiate between the two. But dementia is the umbrella name. Any condition that will affect your memory, we term it as dementia. And one of the causes is Alzheimer's, and we have different because we divide them into two, reversible and non-reversible. And when it comes to reversible, we have conditions like thyroid, anything that will affect hormonal conditions like thyroidism will affect your memory, and alcoholism, which comes in terms of drugs or substance abuse, that leads, when it's noticed earlier, it can be reversed. But we have the ones that cannot be reversed. And top on it, we have Alzheimer's that accounts for 80% of the conditions that will cause dementia. Then we have vascular dementia, and this is where if you get an accident and your head is hit and the blood supply to the brain is cut off, this is what we call vascular dementia. So the part that is really affected and loses memory on that area, we call it vascular dementia. But there are several others, including even Parkinsonism, that will lead to dementia. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Maybe to also give a context, when did you step into the field of concentrating and sensitizing people on dementia?
I started this in 2010 after I was working initially with the HIV research institution. Then when I left, I wanted to do home care in regards to the HIV positive patients. But along the way, with the stigma that comes along with HIV, I had to take all clients who require home care. Yeah. And as I was doing this, 80% of my clients were the old people who had a condition that people could not understand, and this was dementia. So the family members were not able to understand, and also the caregivers. So most of them would end up leaving them, even the caregivers would not even stay for long and leave. So I had to step in because this is a terminal illness that has no treatment, and help the family and the caregivers help the person living with dementia. So we started the awareness campaign of letting people know what it is all about and how to handle it. Yeah.
In your work, maybe you can share with us some of the worst cases that you've ever encountered with due regard to ignorance or lack of information from maybe even direct family members.
Maybe what I would start by explaining first is what happens when someone has dementia or Alzheimer's. And what happens, they lose their memory, and this is the short-term memory. The short-term memory is lost, and when I mean short-term memory is everything that you do from morning to evening, because the brain works like a computer where whatever you do the whole day is stored somewhere, and then when we sleep, it's taken to the hard drive so that you're able to remember even after 20 years. But now with Alzheimer's, especially Alzheimer's, it will affect first whatever is stored, the everyday activity that is stored. So even after 2 minutes, when you ask the person what they were doing before, they cannot remember. So when this is affected, the long-term memory is left intact. And when it's left intact, you'll tend to find they talk about the memories that they had long time ago, like it's in the present. So they'll talk about when they were young girls, like they are living at that time. And this is where people confuse and start thinking maybe it's witchcraft, because they'll talk about people who died long time ago, like they were with them. And then after that, they lose the memory of familiar places, their own homes. They can meet with a neighbor. You know, with a normal person, you'll meet with a neighbor. Even if you don't recall their name, you know they're your neighbors. Yeah. But with someone who has dementia, they'll meet with their neighbors. They don't even know they're their neighbors. They forget where they live. So you'll find them walking around not knowing where they live, because the memory they have, it's the long-term memory where they still think they're looking for this home where they used to live when they were young. So if they used to live in a mud house, they look for that mud house, not the story building that they are living currently in. They'll forget the sitting room, they'll forget the kitchen, they'll forget the toilet, and they'll always wander around. They also lose the memory of time, where they're not able to differentiate day and night. And some of them will wake up at night, they go to the shamba, start digging, and it's at night, and then when they come back, they're not able to locate the door. And this is where most people think they're practicing witchcraft. Yeah. And this is where most of them used to be killed, because they would go around the house, and when you find someone going around the house, it's at night. Yeah. And they talk more about people who died long time ago. People tend to think they are practicing witchcraft. The other thing that they'll lose is the memory of people they knew, their own children. They'll forget them. And you tend to find most of them will forget from the youngest going onwards, because they are losing their memories when they had children, to a point they reach, they'll still remain in the memory when they were not married. So they'll forget all their children. And at that point, some of them will start talking about their father. Maybe it's a man, when he was a young boy, used to take care of their father's cattle, and he'll start saying, I have to go and get them before my dad comes and find I haven't done that. So when they go back to that memory, most time they forget the people they knew, and they'll remain knowing their parents, maybe probably who've already died, or even their grandparents. So here also bring mixed reactions, because most family members don't take it lightly, because this is my own parent, this is my own dad, my own mom, and they don't know me, you know. And at times they remember you, and people tend to think they're pretending. At times you'll help them with their surrounding, with whatever they want to do, and they'll come back and tell you, I'm very grateful for what you do, because whatever you do, not many people can do it. And when they say that, they go back to that, the state that they are in, where they cannot remember anything. And most people tend to think they are pretending because they know what they are doing.
And that's just maybe a lucid moment.
Yes,
yes. And maybe at that point, when they're at a lucid, or when they're not in their lucid intervals, how are you supposed to react? Maybe as the person who's closest to them, do you indulge them? I mean, how do you handle them at that point?
We tell people, if you want to handle someone with dementia, because to them, whatever they are doing is right. But as being normal, we are seeing whatever they are doing is not right. So you need to go into their shoes. When they talk about something, flow with their story. Don't try to argue that is not what it is. Don't ask questions. We tell people, don't go asking questions like, do you know who I am? Tell them, I'm so and so. But don't ask questions. And then we tell people, when you're interacting with them, because also the visual field is affected, where if I'm seated here, I'm able to see like this. But to them, it becomes smaller until they can only see at a certain place, the pinpoint. So we tell people, when you're approaching them, come from the front, just wave so that they're able to know there's someone. Because when you come from the side, they get startled. And at this point, they can hit you, because it's a reaction of self-defense. So when you come from the front, they are able to notice. And when you're talking to them, talk to them loudly. And then, because they also lose the sense of touch, so assist them. if you have to put something here, just put what you know you want them to use. Because if you put a towel and a paper, most probably they'll take the paper thinking it's the towel and they'll start wiping themselves. So just aid them in that. Yeah.
I'm sure there's this question about mental illness. Do we classify dementia under that? And how can we distinguish it from, let's say, other things such as schizophrenia and the like?
Dementia is under mental health. And the way you differentiate with schizophrenia is someone who has dementia, they will not remember. And once they don't remember, this is their normal life. But someone who has schizophrenia, they cannot forget where they come from. They'll always go around, maybe in town, and always come back home.
Yeah.
They will relate with you as a person. But someone with dementia, they don't. And dementia will affect you even physically, to a point where you're not even able to come out of bed. Everything has to be done because the brain is the one that controls the rest of the body. And we say, in a simpler word, when we are telling someone about the definition of dementia, dementia is equals to brain death. So if the brain is dying, whatever part it's supposed to control is also dying, and it will forget what it was supposed to do. So at the end of it, they become bedridden, and they also forget even how to swallow. The body forgets how to breathe, and even how to the heart rate. So at that point, they die. But someone with schizophrenia, they'll not forget how to eat, how to swallow, you know. Yeah, because it's something hormonal.
All right. Yeah. Oh, so that's the major difference. Yes. And maybe even for the people watching at home, there's this day-to-day forgetfulness. You know, you're supposed to do this, then you forget about it. Maybe they're worried watching right now, thinking, "Oh my God, I could be suffering from dementia." What possible symptoms, particular ones, will maybe distinguish your day-to-day forgetfulness as compared to when you're actually headed towards getting dementia?
As a person, we normally forget. Every person forgets.
Yeah.
But as long as you can remember that you forget, that is not dementia. Because someone with dementia, they don't even know they forget. But you as a person, if you left your phone here, you'd walk maybe a few kilometers and then remember, I've forgotten my phone. As long as you can remember you had it and you left it somewhere, that's not dementia. Because someone with dementia, even if they left it here and you ask them, you had this phone, they'll tell you it's not theirs. So this is the difference. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And maybe as we wind up this first segment, you can tell us, is there a cure for dementia or any way to manage it?
Dementia is a terminal illness which has no cure and has no medication that you'd give to stop the process, especially the Alzheimer's. It has no cure, no treatment to stop the process, yeah. But the medication that are out there, the ones that we give, are just to make the symptoms less severe. Like if they become more aggressive and they are beating people or they are walking around, especially at night. So they are given this medication just to reduce the symptoms, but not to stop the process, nor to cure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is She Power. We have been highlighting the issue of dementia. I've had with me Salome. We are taking a short break, and when we come back, we will be asking our guest why she got into her line of work, and we'll be looking at the statistics globally and here in the country. Keep it WTV Kenya. This is She Power.